Hi guys, welcome to today's session, and today we're going to discuss about United Nations Human Rights Council. It is an international body, and in this session we will first see background about United Nations Human Rights Council. Then we'll discuss the role of Human Rights Council as an international body, and also what are the challenges faced by United Nations Human Rights Council, and finally we'll discuss a few way forward measures to better the working of United Nations Human Rights Council. So that's how I plan this lesson. Let's now start. The United Nations Human Rights Council is a United Nations body whose mission is to promote and protect human rights around the world, and UNHRC has 47 members elected for staggered 3-year terms on a regional group basis from 5 groups, and the members are elected for a period of 3 years with a maximum of 2 consecutive terms. So that is the very background of the basic background of United Nations Human Rights Council. Now we will discuss what is the role of Human Rights Council as an international body. UNHRC has played a role of a political platform which aims to ensure that human rights remain a top priority within the UN. And this organization has a global reach which has a wide mandate which facilitates it to respond to human rights cases across the globe, and in doing so, it also brings the members of civil society together for voicing concerns related to human rights in the respective local regions. Then there is special procedures, that is special procedures of UNHRC, which are universal source of knowledge on human rights themes and country-specific conditions, which helps to improve the understanding of human rights law. And there is universal periodic review which motivates nation level dialogues on human rights and also mandates that every UN member state examines human rights on a regular basis, and it ensures transparency and accountability in the functioning of UNHCR. And condemning of violations is another point. You know that in the recent past, resolutions adopted by UNHRC have highlighted and condemned distinctive violations despite the efforts to the contrary by some members of HRC. For example, in the midst of Arab Spring, Human Rights Council voted unanimously to suspend Libya's membership, and more recently, the Council did not permit Syria to bid for a seat on the grounds of human rights violations and appointed an investigations there. So these things are happening. And the next point is issue-based coalitions. That is, there is an increasing number of countries from all parts of the world which have started working together to further the human rights, irrespective of their shared history and regional politics. And the regional bloc voting practices have become the matter of the past, and considered a discussion along with the collective action is becoming possible. And there are another controversial subject areas where UNHRC plays significant role that have been also addressed at the Human Rights Council meetings, which includes LGBTIQ rights and also religious discrimination. And if you, for instance, South Africa's efforts to acknowledge the rights of LGBTIQ faced strong opposition from neighboring countries, but it was supported by far away countries like Brazil, Colombia, and United States, and many others. So these things are also under the ambit of HRC meetings, and there is role for special rapporteurs that they are experts, and these special rapporteurs recommended by UNHRC have resulted into manifested actions on problem ranging from combating torture in Jordan to protecting journalists in Cambodia, decriminalizing blasphemy in United Kingdom, and reducing prison sentences in China. So they also played a significant role in shaping up the human rights around the globe. So that is that are the major roles played by the UNHRC in globally. And now we'll see what are the challenges of this organization. Many members of UN are themselves systematic human rights offenders. They are in leading roles and on paper charged with upholding the highest standards of human rights. So this is double standard, and The council ignores the worst cases of human rights abuses in favor of softer topics like elderly, children, and the disabled. And the detention of political opposition in Cuba, destruction of civil society in Venezuela have not been questioned in UNHRC, and the stand taken by HRC on Libya and Syria is also insufficient. And there is a bias against Israel that is among its 10 standing agenda items. The council has continued a permanent item on Israel's human rights behavior in the occupied Palestinian territories, which is considered to be unfair to Israel. And another challenge is effectiveness of this body. It occasionally prioritizes pet projects over common concerns and fails to follow through on implementation of its own decisions and recommendations. Much of what is debated in the council hardly takes any enforceable form. And another challenge is there is often a confusion between OHCHR, which is Office of United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, and HRC. These two bodies are different. It is a separate institution, and OHCHR represents report independent of HRC. So the recent report on Kashmir being an example, the conflation of HRC and OHCHR is incorrect and confuses the separate mandate and functions. Another major challenge is the allegation that UNHRC intrusion into sovereignty of the states. It has been a challenge for UNHRC to advocate for human rights and not interfere with the sovereignty of the states. Many recommendations of the special rapporteur of UNHRC are discarded on this basis only solely. So these are the challenges, and also recently US withdrawn from this UNHRC, which is also a greater challenge for the organization. And there was a report on UNHRC on Kashmir, although taking of both sides of LOC focuses mainly on serious violations in Jammu and Kashmir, and India has rejected the report, terming it fallacious and questioning its intent in bringing out a selective compilation of largely unverified information to build a false narrative. So these issues are also there, and we will discuss some way forward measures, and we will wind up this session. There should be more emphasis on general issues. The effort that goes into some country-specific resolutions might be better invested in other ways. More attention should be given to addressing visibly deteriorating human rights situations before they become a chronic or a crisis. And there should be focus on thematic issues. It is important that HRC formulates necessary regulations on themes such as biotechnology, administration of justice, healthcare, artificial intelligence, which have significant human rights implication. And the body should ensure its effectiveness. More needs to be done to ensure that process at UNHRC produce more substantial outcomes. For this, it is important that members and observers invest great effort in connecting HRC work with that in other parts of UN system and implementing it at the national level. And next point is less politicized and more practical exchanges. The HRC's momentous resolution on combating intolerance on the basis of religion gave rise to the Istanbul process, which embodies such an approach and can serve as a model for addressing other similarly challenging issues. So these are the way forward measures to be adopted, and that's all about this particular topic, guys. We'll meet tomorrow with another topic, so please study about this UNHRC, which is an important international body. Thank you for watching this lesson.